make you a U.S. citizen, but it just said you had a right to become one. And also, Article 4 of the 14th Amendment states that you can't challenge the debt.
You
See what they're setting up here?
Keep going.
Okay. Well, it's obvious that they're not honoring the Constitution, because the Constitution states, for instance, that you can't have money unless it's backed by gold or silver, right?
Oh, okay. Now I'm with you.
But a maritime government, which is not really the real government, can do whatever it wants. And it's not violating the Constitution, because those states are not judicial states anymore. In other words, the Nevada Republic or Nevada state could not deal in money unless backed by gold or silver.
Right.
But the state of Nevada, which is a phony federal state illegally created by Abe Lincoln in 1864, can print fiat money, distribute fiat money, and doesn't have to honor any constitutional rights for anybody, anywhere, anytime, or any place.
Okay.
See how ugly this is starting to get?
Yeah, I do.
Now, this is why they created a thing called the birth certificate. The word birth was never a word found in the English language for humans. You're born, you're not birthed. The word birth comes from putting a ship in the harbor under a maritime berth.
True.
And this is where we get into the nom de guerre situation, because if we create a birth certificate for Lou Epton when he's born, and most birth certificates have the last name in all capital letters, and the first two parts of the name were normal.
Yeah.
This is why government applications always have the last name first, because anytime you put your name in a fictitious format, it's a title of nobility. And titles of nobilities are used in maritime courtrooms. You cannot use a judicial name in a maritime courtroom. It's the wrong venue. If I spelled your name, Lou, first letter capital L, then small letters, middle name capital, I don't know what your middle initial is, but capital,
have one.
What is it?
Don't have one.
Okay, but if your middle name had a capital M, it'd be capital, but spell out your full middle name, right? And put your last name, Epton, capital E, small p, spelled out small after that.
Yeah.
That's called a correct appellation. Some people use the word Christian appellation, but that doesn't matter. You can be Muslim or Jewish or anything else. It's still a judicial appellation.
Okay.
Now, for those who doubt what I'm saying, you go to Corpus Juris Secundum and look up two words. Mort Main. M-O-R-T-E-M-A-I-N-E.
Where do you find this? What did you call it?
Mort?
No, before that. Corpus
Juris Secundum.
Okay.
Those are law books. Those are standard law books.
Okay, didn't know.
Okay?
Right.
So they have to put your name in a fictitious name to bring you into maritime jurisdiction. And you've heard people talk about different aspects of this story, not quite understanding how it fits into the big picture.
Yeah.
We had one guy call in last time we did a talk show stating that he was in charge of paperwork for the, I think it was the Marine Corps or Army, and he said he was always instructed to make the last name in all capitals.
Yeah.
There was also a guy that was going to prison, and he got up and said he wanted to read the indictment, and he stated that it was not me on the paperwork. He protested, that's not my name. The judge, remember, he corrected the name?
Yeah.
And they got back a week later?
Yeah.
And they had AKA in front of his correct name, and he said, I protest again, that's not also known as, my correct name is, and the judge says, what do we do about this case of mistaken identity? And the judge dismissed it. The prosecutor leaped up screaming. The judge said, be quiet, we'll talk about it later, and the guy walked away from a 20-year prison sentence.
Just like that. I'm going to hold you there for a couple of moments.
Go ahead.
Stay with us, everyone. All right, we've got 18 after the hour of 9 p.m. this Friday. My name is Lou Epton, along with our guest, Dave Hinkson, here on the AM 840 KXNT. We've got a full board, a few more minutes, and you bet we'll take your calls. In the meantime, Dave, you want to keep going on this a little further, and then we'll take and see what the listeners
Yes, we'll take some calls pretty quick here. I would like to make out, after hearing this story, it's obvious that all the listeners out there have two identities.
And there are two states of every
state.
There
are two states, sometimes three. There's actually 3 Californias, I think.
Oh, really? I know the Republic
There's a California state, California Republic, and State of California. There's also 2 Supreme Courts. See, when they created the phony everything, okay, they created, like this, let me give you both Supreme Courts, or both district courts.
Okay.
There's a United States District Court, and there's a District Court of the United States of America. Which one's the correct one?
United States District Court?
The District Court of the United States of America is the correct way of saying
The District Court
of the United States of America. The word "of" denotes ownership. Okay. Now,
okay.
There's two Supreme Courts. There's the Supreme Court of the United States, and there's the United States Supreme Court. And if you put Supreme Court of the United States, the S and C are small, as in the Constitution. Supreme Court is not spelt with a capital S.
Ooh. Interesting. Let me ask you a quick question. If Lincoln would have liked to have gotten back to the original republic, what would he have had to do? What would a person...
Just reconvene Congress.
Yeah. And?
As a republic.
Well, now, wait a moment. They're reconvened today under the direction of a president.
But they're under martial law, and they've never canceled the emergency powers. That's why they created that emergency powers.
Well, what would be the difference then in calling for a reconvening of the Congress?
They need to reconvene Congress as a department. That's all it would take, and that would move all the states back to judicial. That's why I can give people clues. If you look up in the Corpus Juris Secundum or the Words and Phrases books in the library, under the word de facto and de jure, those are the two key words.
Yeah.
You'll find de jure is a legitimate government created as a republic, okay?
Yeah.
De facto is a military war government that has seized power by force of arms. It's right there in the definitions, and we have a de facto government, and there's over 23 Supreme Court rulings that state that if a judicial government is in place, maritime government or de facto government ceases to exist.
And we could do it.
It only takes, well, that's where I'm heading next with this, okay? If I said to you, I am a citizen of Nevada State, okay? That jurisdiction still exists. You can't cancel it. It's still there. There's nobody there but me now, right? I made my declaration. I'm the only one in it.
Okay.
It's like going into a big empty building. Can a maritime government go into that big empty building in their maritime jurisdiction and tell me I'm not judicial? Can't enter that venue. I am not a citizen of the United States of America. I denounce it right here on the air. I am not a 14th Amendment citizen. I'm a judicial citizen. I was born and raised in California. I am a native. I am a Native American. I'm not Indian, but I am a Native American. I was born on this soil. I have a judicial birthright. And I was born on the American continent, which makes me an American. I am a Native American and a citizen of the California Republic.
Okay.
You see how this is working here?
Yeah, I do.
Now, since how there's two Lou Eptons, okay?
Okay.
There's the dead Lou Epton with the fictitious name, and there's a Lou Epton judicially that has rights under God. And the judicial rights, that's why we were a nation of God, was because all men are created equal, the Declaration reads.
Yeah.
And where is the right that all men are created equal found? It's found judicially in the Bill of Rights. And when you go into a maritime courtroom, you have no Bill of Rights. You're not a judicial citizen. And they can do whatever they want to you. When the judge sits up there on his pulpit, okay?
Yeah.
Wearing his black Masonic robes.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And he is sitting behind the bar. The word bar comes when the rivers hit the ocean, there's a sandbar. Law from the sandbar to sea is maritime. Law from the bar inward is judicial. Now he's sitting with his military flag behind the bar, and he's on the deck of a ship. That's why that rail is there. It's the deck of a ship. That's what it represents. Now the people in the courtroom are sitting in the peanut gallery, right?
Okay.
And in that peanut gallery, what flag are they under? Well, the flag on top of the courthouse is judicial. You with me?
Okay.
So their human being breathing bodies are actually judicial sitting there, and the judge is maritimely up there, and he collars across the bar and he says, you all have the right to remain silent. You all have this right and that right and this right, and he tells you about all your judicial rights, right? Then he says, Lou Epton. Well, the name on the indictment is all capitalized, and it's a dead fictitious name, and he's standing there next to his military flag, and you stand up and you say, yo-ho. And he says, come forward, Mr. Epton. And you come forward, and you just enjoined. Do you have any rights at that point?
Not when I go forward.
Now, we had a guy that heard the Right Way Law story, and he went to court, and he refused to cross the bar, and he was found in contempt, and they dragged him physically across the bar. Okay?
Yeah.
I had discovered the Seventh Amendment, not knowing what it meant, and when I went to court, my approach was slightly different. Let me back up a second. I said there was 2 Lou Eptons, right?
Yeah.
Who owns the checking account? The dead Lou Epton.
That's right.
Who owns your car?
The dead Lou Epton.